Welcome to the Partnernomics Show, where industry thought leaders discuss the hottest topics in partnerships, ecosystems, and innovation. The Partnernomics Show is brought to you by IOLite Solutions, a product incubator specific to Salesforce. Now here's the host of the Partnernomics Show, Mark Brigman.
All right, so welcome back to another episode. Mr. Alex Richards. Man, I'm so excited, Alex, to have you a part of the show and give you an opportunity to share your insights. I know I've enjoyed our conversations together and getting to know each other. Man, feel really excited and happy to have you as part of this program.
It's 2022 and we're kicking things off with a big boom, which I love it. And, you know, I love our conversations as well. So I really appreciate you having me along and, you know, being part of this. This is awesome.
So Alex, we've mentioned a part of the Partnernomics Show, what we want to do is to give us a platform to share insights, share opinions, share different resources, but all centered around advancing this world that you and I both love, that is partnerships.
Yep. Living and breathe it. And I think, you know, and one of the things I love about this whole thing as well is that we need more resources out there. We need more community. We need to be talking more about this. And I think people are looking for this sort of stuff. So, you know, advancing everyone, I think is amazing. So yeah, perfect.
So Alex is the Senior Director of Global Alliances for Momentive, and you probably know them a little bit better, maybe by the names of SurveyMonkey or GetFeedback. And so Alex is there in the Senior Director role, helping them just kind of rock and roll and further advance their organization by doing partnerships. But Alex, share with us for a minute or two. I mean, what's it like to be in the day in the life of Alex doing partnerships?
Well, I think like everyone, there's always a lot of wood to chop, as people say. This is a completely new thing for the business. So I'm building everything from scratch right now. But the really great thing is that I think company culture, the customers that we have and the products that we have are really, really great. And, it's the same space that I've sort of come from, the CX industry and SaaS technology. So it's really exciting, you know, tools and platforms, processes, keeping teams happy, working with product, legal, marketing, and also as well, just making sure that we're growing our strategic presence with, you know, the relationships we already have. So I think we're going to be talking a lot about those things today, and chopping that wood, as I keep saying. So yeah.
No question. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to hammer you with the first question, and we're going to wrestle this thing to the ground, hopefully. So today's topic of interest is all centered around mission, or like the mission statement. So we had, launched out a blog looking at vision, mission, core values, these sorts of things, purpose, which I believe are really critical. I think this is an area you and I align on, or are passionate about. But we talk about vision statements, and the way that I kind of define a vision is more of that 20 to 25 year big mountaintop picture that we're casting for our company. And then mission specifically is more of that, say, 2 to 5 year picture of what we're trying to accomplish for our company. So in this episode, we're really going to be hitting on mission from a couple different angles. And the first question that I want to launch at you is, does a mission link to a group's, either a group or a company's culture? I mean, is there a tie? And if so, kind of what is the tie?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting subject, because I know you and I have spoken about this in the past, but I think some companies sort of, they interchange them and they don't really sort of kind of know, what each means. So I think it is a big fit, and it should be a key piece to a company's culture. I think there's some mission statements out there in the market that we're all very familiar with. Obviously, there was like Nike's with, just do it. Those have sort of like changed over the years with companies like that. I think Nike's now has sort of moved with the times, and it's especially more it's more open to a wider market rather than it just being like elite athletes and all this sort of stuff. So it's more an open playing field, which is really, really nice. So I think it is a core thing. And at the end of the day, I think you want individuals to be part and feel part of that company culture and understand, like you were saying before, the mission statement is essentially the journey you're on, and they want to be on that journey. So having that connection there, and being part of that, I think is really, really key to it overall. But I would love to get your insight, because I know we've spoken about this in the past, and I think we have had a really good chat previously on this.
Yeah, it's definitely a topic that I think is really critical. And several years ago, I had the opportunity to interview Jerry Porras. So there's a particular book called Built to Last. And the book Built to Last, Jerry Porras and Jim Collins were the authors of that. Jim Collins wrote the book Good to Great. Both of those sold millions and millions of copies. So I think whenever it comes to like this purpose, vision, mission, core values, these kind of components, sometimes called, the soft side, the soft components of business, Built to Last is like just the business Bible is what I call it, relative to those particular topics. But what I find so interesting is how, in some companies, this mission, having these overt mission statements, vision statements, really talking about purpose. Some businesses and business leaders, executives, I mean, it's kind of the holy grail. I mean, they just live it, eat it, breathe it. Other organizations, it's like you can't even pull it out of somebody if you tried. You don't see it anywhere. It's definitely not their North Star. So it almost seems like there's kind of this philosophical bent that either executives have or they don't have wrapped around this topic.
I think you raise a good point there as well, because I've seen in the past as well that startups seem to be very good at having a mission statement. Everyone lives and breathes it. They're eating it. It's a really, really cool thing. But I think with larger companies, it sometimes gets lost unless you're an identifiable brand, or you don't have one. So it's a very interesting thing. And I'm sure, like you mentioned, core values. I'd love to touch up on that as well, because I think that's also a really good point.
Yeah, we'll definitely tee up that episode in the future as well.
Well, let me fire a question over to you, because I'd love to get your insight on this a little bit more. But should a partnering team have its very own mission statement? I would love to get your insight and see where your head's on that one.
Yeah, man, this is a great question, and it's one that it can be kind of contentious. And what I mean by that is, like how I shared earlier. I'm sure we've both been part of organizations. I know I've been part of organizations or even companies where vision, mission, core values, purpose, these sorts of things are really, really important. And specifically, like the founders, the CEO, the C-suite, they feel like a sense of ownership of what these are. And they kind of disseminate these down through the teams, and they kind of own that. And then we've also seen the opposite end of the spectrum. So I definitely am kind of passionate about this particular topic, and that is for mission statements, right? So at Partnernomics, our company, we say our mission is to make strategic partnering become a core competency for every client. And so I believe in mission statements. And I believe that they should be our yardstick or our measuring stick for our activities, for what we do, for how we run our business, for how we resource our business. And, if you don't have a mission statement, or if your mission statement is either so general that your team doesn't feel like they can use it as a measuring stick, then yes, I would say you do need to incorporate or build a mission statement for your individual partnering team. You agree?
I do, and I love your mission statement as well, because I mean, our one at Momentive is to power the curious so they can shape what's next. And I think that really, when you have that launch stick, as you're mentioning, it really divides it. But I think there is this line especially with sort of mission statements and teams. And I'm intrigued to know what you might think about that as well.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to mission statements, I guess kind of like I said before, if you're going to build out a mission statement for your team, kind of approach with caution and make sure that you're
Yes.
having that conversation upstream, right? Because you don't want to be, ruffling any feathers, stepping on any toes, thinking that you're going to take over the company, you're going to build a new mission statement for the company. No, you're going to build it for your team, because you want to give your team kind of this yardstick. This is a perfect time, right? It's early in 2022. My team we've literally kind of built out this spreadsheet of, I think, 22 different items, 22 different potential projects. Hey, where should we put resources? What should we focus on the first half of 22? The way that I have always used a mission statement is I use it as kind of that litmus test of what we resource, right? So I mean, I say, our mission is to make strategic partnering become a core competency for each one of our clients. So project idea number one, does this help us accomplish our mission or come closer to accomplishing our mission? If the answer is no, that kind of answers the resourcing question in my mind. We probably shouldn't do it. Or we need to have some really, some strong conversations behind that resourcing of it. So that's just kind of how we use it. But another thing that kind of comes to mind is, I guess politically or culturally or whatever, if you don't feel like you can build out a mission statement for your team, call it something else. Call it your team's purpose statement. Call it something to that effect.
Exactly.
But you still get this yardstick for your team, which I believe wholeheartedly in.
Yeah, I completely agree with you 100% on that. I think it's really, really valuable to have that.
So, Alex, I want to fire another question at you.
Let's do it.
So your mission, can it help you identifying this mission? Can it help you either qualify or disqualify, say, employees or partners?
Ooh, I like that. In the short answer, I would say yes. I think, like you were mentioning before, that I think there's sort of a line, and you have to be aware of kind of mission statements and fits. Obviously, there's boundaries for everything. But at the end of the day, I think, especially with a mission statement, like I mentioned before, it is that journey to that overall vision. And a mission statement can change year by year. Nike's shown that, a number of other companies have as well, because goals change for you to reach that, that end target. I think for fit culturally, and also maybe metrics and objectives you got, if your mission statement, and I think also your core values that you touched upon earlier on, align with that, then yes, 100%. Like I would want employees, people in a hiring process, to be excited about what we're excited about. If there's, an overt like complete disconnect from that, then obviously that's sort of a no. And then I think from partners as well, there is an element of that as well. I mean, I love it when partners' mission statements include words like ecosystem and, driving growth and adoption. Like for me, that really resonates, because that aligns with what we want to do. But obviously, if the mission statement is completely, off from that, then I think we'd all have to agree as a no on that. So I think it's a really interesting concept. The thing that I'm leaning into a lot more now is around core values. I think they can resonate really, really well. And an example that I'll throw out there from many, many moons ago. So I don't know how many years ago I'm now thinking about this, but when I was at Apple, in my role there, a lot of my colleagues, they have these lanyards, they have these little things behind them, and they have a little book with their credo in there. And one of the first items in there that always sticks with me is that at Apple, our most important resource, our soul, is our employees. And for me, that's always one thing that stuck with me, because I think if you can embody those things and it shows that you really value individuals and your customers and things like that, it's a good mindset to have at the end of the day.
I love how you say that, because it's, oh man, so much of, mission statements, these sorts of things, core values that you're speaking of. It's one thing to like have them and throw them on a wall, or have them on a book, or have them on a web page, but it's another thing to make them real, meaning that you truly believe them and that you live them. And I think when that happens, when you have that level of magic, that is powerful. That's transformative. That's really what's the power and the benefit that can come from this entire conversation of this entire topic.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that's the big thing. Putting words into action is really, really valuable, and I think that kind of like leans a little bit more into the question I actually had for you around sort of informing a partner strategy. I'd love to get your insight to understand if you think a mission statement can inform a partner strategy. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there would love to know that as well.
Yeah, awesome question, man. Yeah, I guess kind of the first thing that bounces into my mind as you ask that question is, how many times whenever we're looking to form a partnership, with another organization, do we actually dig in and ask them questions about their mission? Especially we talked a little bit about core values and vision and these sorts of things, but just kind of even staying on mission, the mission statement for companies, for teams. How many times do we even ask about their mission and look for alignment between our mission and their mission, and then use that as a way to either qualify or disqualify a particular partner from doing business with us? I absolutely believe in spending that time to look at alignment. I kind of share this word picture of railroad tracks, and I envision, I just think about as companies look to partner with other companies, the more aligned you are, like railroad tracks that go miles into the future, the more aligned you are, the easier it is to provide value to each other as you head miles down the track. We always talk about partnerships, and specifically strategic partnerships, about being this way to this symbiotic relationship, where we just naturally provide value to each other. But if your partnering organization is heading in a different direction, or their strategy is vastly different than what your strategy is, those railroad tracks will then start to, you have more and more distance between them, which means more effort, more energy, and sometimes it's not even really possible or practical to provide value to each other.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well, because I think since we've been talking about this and about this conversation as well, it's actually made me think a little bit more about, well, okay, we have a strategy as a partner team within our company, but maybe we could sum that up a little bit more with like, this is our mission statement as a team, and really align that. So when we are having these conversations, little things that I look out for is people that are very transactional. They want a fee for a relationship. They're not really invested in getting to know you, like how's the family, all that sort of stuff. And also like, what is the strategy for essentially growth? Like a lot of us get pulled into conversations around, hey, want to be a partner? And it's like, okay, we can have a logo on our website and stuff, but like, what are we trying to achieve here? And I think that's like the point that you were driving home there as well is, what does that look like, and can that help? And I think yes is the answer to it. It can really, really impact where you want to go down that road long term. So yeah.
Well, Alex, I love the piece that you said there. It's not all partnerships are created equal, right? Just like we say, not all customers are created equal. Not all partnerships are created equal. And sometimes it's okay to have a highly transactional partnership. Just call it what it is, and that's what it is. But if you're really talking about kind of that high innovation, high transformation, high value creation, this truly strategic relationship, by definition, you're going to be working together intensely to make this idea come to fruition. And in those cases, I would argue you have to really look at each other's, strategy, which includes, that mission and having that conversation.
Yeah, I'm completely the same page. And that's why I think this subject is so interesting because there's so many levels to it. And it really does exemplify, where you're trying to get to long term as well. So yeah, it's awesome.
Well, we definitely have to hit core values because that's another topic that I absolutely love. We got to make sure that we hit that one in a future episode. But Alex,
Agreed.
It's awesome checking in with you, catching up with you. I'm glad to see that 22 is off to a great start for you and the team. Keep up the awesome work, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it. You too. I'm really excited to see what you guys are up to.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of the Partnernomics Show. Don't forget to subscribe to get the newest episodes at thepartnernomicshow.com. Special thanks to our sponsors, Iolite. To learn more about Iolite, visit iolitepro.com. And Partnernomics, the science of partnering. To learn more about the suite of Partnernomics courses, coaching programs, and consulting services, visit partnernomics.com. See you on the next episode.